You know that feeling when you scroll through a dozen listings for a benchtop mill, see a sleek photo of a compact machine, and think, this is exactly what my garage needs, only to get it home and discover the table is wobblier than a kitchen scale, the spindle never quite hits the speeds you need, and you're left with a pricey paperweight? I've been there, and that's why I wanted to do a deep dive on the MechMaxx 6-inch by 20-inch benchtop mill before anyone else makes the same mistake. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing most hobbyists wrestle with is whether a tabletop mill can actually replace a small floor-standing unit without sacrificing the precision they need for things like aerospace brackets or custom automotive parts. The MechMaxx VM18LD promises a 1 HP brushless motor, variable spindle speeds, an R8 taper for better collet compatibility, and a digital readout that claims to keep you on target in X, Y, and Z. Those sound like all the right buzzwords, but the real question is, does the machine deliver that in a cramped garage where you're also juggling a drill press and a belt sander? I started by looking at the setup. The mill arrives in a single crate, and the footprint is truly compact, about the size of a large printer. That alone is a win if you're limited on floor space. The heavy-duty base feels solid, and because the motor is brushless, you don't have the constant humming and maintenance headaches that come with brushed equivalents. The variable speed dial is smooth, offering enough range to mill aluminum at 1,500 revolutions per minute or cut steel at the lower end of 300 revolutions per minute. In my own tests, the speed changes were instantaneous, which matters when you're moving from a light-duty aluminum prototype to a tougher stainless component in the same session. One of the most practical strengths is the R8 spindle taper. Most entry-level benchtop mills stick with an older, less common taper that forces you to buy proprietary collets. With an R8, you can tap into a whole market of aftermarket collets, reducing the cost of tooling over time. I swapped out a inch collet for a inch one without any fiddling, and the machine held the tool securely while I milled a 1-inch slot in a piece of 6061 aluminum. The cut was clean, the chip removal was efficient, and I didn't feel any chatter that sometimes shows up on cheaper spindles. The digital readout, DRO, is another area where the MechMaxx tries to differentiate itself. It displays position on all 3 axes, which is handy if you're doing a repeatable pattern, like drilling a series of evenly spaced holes for a custom bracket. The readout is backlit, so you can see it in a dim shop, and the numbers are crisp enough that you can trust them for tolerances down to about 0.01 inches. In practice, I used the DRO to drill a 5-hole pattern on a steel plate for a small gear housing, and the spacing was spot on, no need for a separate jig. Now, let's talk about the drawbacks, because no machine is perfect. First, the mill does not come with a dedicated workstand or a heavy-duty vise. The documentation suggests you can bolt the machine directly to a workbench, but that means you have to invest in a sturdy bench that can handle the weight and the vibration. If you're using a standard kitchen table or a flimsy garage shelf, you'll notice the whole unit vibrating noticeably during heavy cuts, which can affect both surface finish and your own comfort. Second, while the 1 HP brushless motor is reliable, the power is still modest compared to larger floor-standing units. If you're planning to cut thick stainless steel or do heavy milling passes on large billets, you'll feel the motor strain. In a test where I tried to mill a inch-deep pocket in 304 stainless, the spindle slowed down a bit, and the chip load had to be reduced to avoid overheating. That's fine for hobbyists who mostly work with aluminum, brass, or mild steel, but it's a limitation for anyone looking to tackle high-strength alloys on a regular basis. Another hidden trade-off is the head tilt. The machine offers a flexible head that you can tilt for angled cuts, which sounds great until you try to lock it in place for a precise 45-degree bevel. The tilt mechanism has a bit of play, so you need to double-check the angle with a separate protractor or digital angle gauge if you need high accuracy. It's not a deal-breaker for most DIY projects, but if you're building something that requires exact angles, think aerospace brackets or precision tooling, it adds an extra step. Who should consider buying this mill? If you're a serious hobbyist or a small shop owner who already has a decent bench, needs a machine that fits into a limited space, and mainly works with aluminum, brass, or mild steel, the MechMaxx VM18LD offers a solid mix of flexibility and precision without breaking the bank. Its variable speed range and R8 spindle give you enough tool options to grow your capability over time.